So what's incredible working with men is they have no association with food. Women, if you tell a woman to not eat something, she'll double down on it. And that's the way the female brain works. So you tell me not to do something, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
My male clients say, just tell me what to do and I will do it. And that's incredible because they don't see that as a source of comfort.
Yeah.
So food isn't their problem. When they come to me, although they're coming for weight loss, energy levels, make me the best version of myself, food is the easiest part of my job. Their mental health is the hardest part of the job. One of their biggest things is they're always on. The brain is switched on. They don't get downtime. Even going home to their families and their children is a full-time job for them because they've been out for so long. They need to be their best version when they go home. And all they want to really do is just sit on the couch and relax and empty that, day's stress. But you can't. You've got children who need your attention. You might have a partner or a wife that wants you to pick up the rest of the slack because she's done it. How do you function? How does a man go round the clock without that downtime? How do you get your downtime? And for me, it's finding the downtime for them.
Every man carries something. Expectations, silence, struggles, the weight of having to look unbreakable. The Dad Project is a home for real, unfiltered conversations on men's mental health, the kind that have been missing for far too long. We share powerful stories and raw perspectives from those living it and those guiding men through it. Filmed at the Old Court in Windsor, it's about breaking silence, reshaping strength, and creating conversations that actually matter. I'm your host, Naroop Juti. Let's talk. Reshma, whenever I see you online, you're hanging off a pull-up bar. And I can't help but admire. I'm like, this woman is strong. Seeing you here now, opposite me, I've been waiting to have this conversation. Why did you agree to come on this podcast?
I think the main reason I agreed is because my heart said don't do it. And when my heart says don't do it, it means you should really do it.
Is that a philosophy that you've lived your life by?
Absolutely not. No. No. I told myself that I will step out of my comfort zone. And one of the biggest things I want to do is make that difference in all aspects of my life. So I already make a difference in my career. It's a rewarding career to have. But outside of that, my personal life, I want to be able to share that and make a difference to other people's lives. So when you asked me to have some conversations with you, immediately I closed up. And I was like, no, you don't want to talk about this. This is not the time for you to be talking about it. And when my mind said that, I thought, okay, you need to go and do this. It's important for you to grow and it's important for that story to go out.
Why do you think it's important for people to confront challenges like that?
I think if you want to grow, you want to be a better version of yourself, then you have to face your fears, you have to tell a story, you have to learn from other people as well, and be someone's safety net. I think there's an incredible amount of growth in communication.
So you're a dietitian.
I am.
How long have you been doing that for? 15,
17 years since I graduated.
And what made you pursue that career?
Just wasn't smart enough to be a doctor, really. I mean, that was the aim. My parents were just like, just do medicine. I didn't have the grades, but I really wanted to help. I wanted to do something that made a difference. And science was my strength. I enjoyed nutrition. I was always curious about food, how it impacts your life. Being, Indian, we have so many complications and they're always food related, whether it be diabetes, cholesterol, blood pressure. So I was interested in it, ended up studying nutrition and food science and went on to do a master's in dietetics and follow the traditional path of having an NHS career.
The reason why I wanted to have you on the podcast is because your own personal journey and your own life is a really interesting story, but also because we don't always realize how our internals affect our externals, right? And food, we think of we almost give it no meaning. It's something to fill our stomach up. I'm feeling hungry. I'm going to grab a sausage roll or a kebab.
Yeah.
I want to just not feel hungry. I want to feel satiated. But really, the food, those chemicals, the way it's made, the ingredients have an impact. And for mental health, if you're on a recovery journey or you're trying to improve your life or you're trying to come out of depression, food can make a massive difference.
Yeah.
Even if you've got cancer.
Absolutely.
Food can make a massive difference. And we just don't know it. We just almost separate the mind and the body.
Yeah.
This makes me feel full, I'm happy, but then the body's like, what's going on? I've just been given all this crap.
Yeah.
How do you expect me to respond? So I wanted to get you on to talk about that. And because women, I feel like will take the time to actually go out, find the right information, put the change in. Sometimes men don't. They need to be really pushed, especially the elder generations. They just got no idea, right? And in Indian culture, what we think is healthy sometimes is the complete opposite. Yeah.
It is incredibly hard. So food is everything I live and breathe. It's what the conversations I have every single day of my life. And even if you're focusing on the outside, say you want to just look better, you can't do that without eating right. If you want to feel better, you can't do that without eating right. The gut is the biggest organ. It's larger than the brain. It's a really big organ. And actually now we call it the second brain. We actually say it's your second brain. You need to nurture the microbes for you to actually feel and look amazing. There's no other way around it. You can't bypass that system.
But when you say the gut, are we talking about the stomach, or is there a whole bunch of organs that comprise of the gut? Because I get confused when I say your gut, this, I'm like, is that my stomach or is that my intestines as well? Or what is it?
It's actually your intestines, it's your bowel, it's all of that. That is where the microbes live. And that's what you're feeding. When you're feeding the gut, it's all of those microbes that have to multiply and be the best versions of themselves. They help you with your immunity. They help you with how you think, your actual mental health, so your thought process. They help with hormone regulation. All of that happens in there. And I guess, you mentioned women are better at it. One of the reasons is because our body screams louder than the man's body. Because our hormones, so from a hormone perspective, if you think about the female cycle, our body will shout at us. We will feel exhausted. We will feel the pain. We will notice the difference in our skin immediately. And because we're a bit more connected with that, every woman is going to look, she's going to do her makeup in the morning. She'll notice when a spot comes and it will mean something. And that will be related to her hormones. And then we take it a step further. We're like, what's playing with your hormones? It's your food.
And men just don't.
I just think men's hormones you're wired differently. Your hormones are different. We don't see a change in your personality over the 30 days, but you'll see a clear change in ours.
Yeah.
You'll see a change in our strength. If you go to the gym with a female, what she can lift on day 1 of her cycle on day 28 is totally different.
Interesting.
That can be a 10, 15 kg difference in how she's lifting. Her mood will be different. Her ambience around you will be different. Her annoyance levels, what she can tolerate and what she can't tolerate will be different. So hormones play an incredible role in our lives, and we're just better at noticing. And we also talk about it. It's a conversation we're always had. It was the first day of my period. That just means something totally different to a woman when she's telling a woman than it does to a man. A man might look at you and be like,
what should a man know?
He should definitely know his partner's cycles. 100%. Because the way we respond is based on our hormones. And I would say we care, nurture, and love exactly the same way, but it might come out differently based on where we are in our cycle.
I think a lot of relationship issues probably could be resolved if the man had maybe a better understanding of the woman's cycle, and vice versa. I think it's important for women to understand men. I don't feel that it's fair sometimes when women say men don't have to go through changes. I think we do.
Yep.
Whether we actually notice them and are aware of them or are told about them, I think is a different thing. I know how my mood can shift based upon how many things I've got going on at the same time. And my stress levels elevate. I know women have that too, but I think there are factors that do affect men, but we just don't talk about it. We just allow them to build up and build up.
Yeah.
So I think there's in every relationship between a man and woman, there's that sense of understanding. But I think obviously with women, they do verbalize it and talk about it more.
Yeah.
And men, I think, which is what we try to do with the podcast, is talk about how you feel to your partner. Let her know that, okay, I'm feeling a bit like this today. Maybe it's not the right time to bring up this topic because I'm not in the right emotional place to handle this kind of conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we are vocal. I know I certainly am. And I appreciate that my partner on his own accord will track my period. There's an app for that. So he can track it and he will know the day I'm having a total breakdown.
Yeah.
And when I've lost myself over something really small, he just has to look and he'll just say to me, he goes, you're due on in 2 days. Nothing's changed in your life. You're tolerating the same amount. We've not added any extra pressures onto the day to day. It's just you're not coping because of your hormones. And that gives me a huge amount of comfort in knowing that he understands my mental health and he's able to relay it back to me and say, you're actually okay. It's just your hormones that are messing around with you right now.
So that sense of understanding is really important.
Yeah. It nurtures your mental health. But I don't know how I would nurture his mental health because he's not got a hormone cycle that I can track.
That's interesting, actually. I wonder if there could be something like that for men to understand what they're going through. I don't know. When you work with male clients,
yes,
what kind of diet do you prescribe for a healthy mindset to function optimally, to make sure they don't feel too overwhelmed, to make sure they don't get too tired? I notice how my energy levels fluctuate massively based upon what I've had to eat.
Yeah.
Like today, I didn't get to eat my normal eggs in the morning. I had porridge and I was like, I might start feeling tired later on because I haven't had the protein in the morning. I just didn't have the time.
Yeah.
So tell me about an ideal diet.
I think so. The clients, my male clients, are high functioning senior executives. They are working around the clock. There's no 9-to-5 job. So it just feels like their life is at work. Everything they do is work related. Even their social activities are business related activities. And the thing I see the most in my clients, especially male clients, is they're high functioning alcoholics. That doesn't mean they have a problem. It means they are drinking every single day from a business perspective. Then they're socializing with alcohol. And the meals are quite rich and they are exhausted. And they sometimes think that they've just got too much or the pressure's too much. And I say to them, I can't change what's on your plate from a pressure perspective. I can change what's on your plate from a food perspective, and I can lighten that load for you. I can make you feel like you've got more energy and that you're firing off all cylinders rather than, feeling exhausted. So it is important to change that alcohol consumption. It's important to change red meat consumption, for example. Their carb allowance, how much they're putting on their plates, because all of that goes into your body at night. You need to have 7 or 8 hours of sleep. Now, they don't get that. And the reason we say that is because your brain needs to dump the chemicals out. It needs to process everything that you put in. The more processed it is, the alcohol consumption, these are all chemicals that are going into your body that we're trying to now remove. That's a job in itself. So you've got your daytime job that you're doing, you've got your evening job that you're doing, you are working round the clock. Where is the rest period? So the rest period comes where you nurture that, the food, your palate, your plate. You start thinking, actually, I need to have half a plate of veg on there. I need to reduce the consumption of this. Maybe the alcohol can be, just swap it to the opposite side. I tell the men, if you put it on your non-dominating side, your brain will be confused. You'll pick up the water to cleanse the palate. You'll pick up the alcohol for pleasure.
You mean putting it on the left-hand side if you're right-handed?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So just swap sides and it's changing behaviours, but still doing what you're doing.
When you talked about dumping chemicals from the brain, explain that to me in a bit more depth, because obviously we think chemicals, food goes down.
Yes.
Our liver, we know liver deals with alcohol and processing that.
Yeah.
But what does dumping chemicals from your brain mean?
It's the processing. It's removing all of the things that your body no longer needs. So it will go all around the body. It's not just a system that's going to go down. It goes into all your cells, including the brain. Your brain needs energy. So remember, all this food is going into your brain to give it a certain amount of energy. And that energy conversion requires releasing of chemicals into different places, removing the chemicals that don't serve the body. And it can affect your mental health, because if you have a high sugar diet or a diet of high processed food, there's a lot that your body has to deal with, a lot of converting, a lot of releasing, a lot of movement. And that is a process that can tire the body out as well. So I'm not surprised when clients tell me they're exhausted. They're not just exhausted from the day job, they're exhausted from their night job that they don't even know is happening. So you feel tired, you feel like, oh, that was a really heavy meal. And then if you don't have enough sleep, a lot of that dumping doesn't happen. So you
how does that show up the next day?
Tiredness, lethargic. Your body's not moving the way it should be. Your mind's not coping the way it should be coping. And the thing people will go to is supplementation. It's like, oh, I need energy. What do I do for energy? Just give me a pill for energy. There is no pill. We don't have a pill for energy. We would be prescribing it and people would be doubling down on it if there was a pill for energy. There isn't.
So are we just overstimulating ourselves? Because I can imagine you're feeling tired.
Yeah.
You probably haven't dumped everything you need to from the day before. Your body needs to release chemicals. Your brain needs to release chemicals. Hasn't had the chance. Now you're trying to get through the day. Let me have some caffeine. Let me have a Red Bull. And then you probably just need time, like they say, stillness, meditate, let stuff go out, rather than putting more stuff in.
Caffeine is your fuel. That is the go-to for my clients. They have a coffee the first thing in the morning. And my job is to put rules in place for them to help their bodies. I'm not interested in anything else but their body and how their mind is working. So even telling them to not drink for the first hour of waking up, because your cortisol levels, which is your stress hormone, is already high from waking up. If my client needs an alarm clock to wake up, we're already in the red zone.
He needs an alarm clock?
Yeah.
So you should just get up.
My clients should not be, by the time they finish with me, they'll never be waking up to an alarm clock. Imagine waking up to a noise, be it soft or loud. Any sort of noise startles you, breaks your sleep cycle, and your cortisol level's already high, so your stress hormone's high. You might be used to waking up that way, but it's not the right way to wake up.
What is the right way to wake up?
Your body should naturally wake you up.
What about if I've got to get up at 4:30 because I've got to be somewhere early?
So that's slightly different because you're breaking your own sleep cycle there by having to get up a bit earlier, in which case I would set an alarm. I would always set an alarm if I have to be somewhere really early. Otherwise, my body will naturally wake me up at 6 o'clock. If it hasn't, that's because something happened the night before and it needed the sleep, and I honour that. But 9 out of 10 times, you should be able to wake up yourself. Your body should do that for you. It's a system we already have ingrained in us.
What are some of the most common challenges that you find that your male clients have with their mental health? Is it just anxiety, stress, or is there stuff that is much more deep-rooted? Because you work with a lot of high net worth individuals, people who are successful by whatever definition that might be, wealth, occupation, etc. What kind of mental health challenges do you see that you find most common?
So what's incredible working with men is they have no association with food. Women, if you tell a woman to not eat something, she'll double down on it. And that's the way the female brain works. So you tell me not to do something, I'm going to do it. My male clients say, just tell me what to do and I will do it. And that's incredible because they don't see that as a source of comfort. So food isn't their problem. When they come to me, although they're coming for weight loss, energy levels, make me the best version of myself, food is the easiest part of my job. Their mental health is the hardest part of the job. One of their biggest things is they're always on. The brain is switched on. They don't get downtime. Even going home to their families and their children is a full-time job for them because they've been out for so long. They need to be their best version when they go home. And all they want to really do is just sit on the couch and relax and empty that, day's stress. But you can't. You've got children who need your attention. You might have a partner or a wife that wants you to pick up the rest of the slack because she's done it. How do you function? How does a man go round the clock without that downtime? How do you get your downtime? And for me, it's finding the downtime for them.
Where do you find that? Where do they find that?
I think physical activity is so important. I think it's so important, not just for men, but for women too. But men need to find the time to do that. And that doesn't mean hit the gym. It means do anything that expends energy.
But wouldn't most men, by what you said, think that, okay, I need to like sit down and relax with my feet up? You're saying actually do something physical. What does that do to the body?
There's so many things it does. I mean, the biggest thing is you have released your stresses. Okay. Right. So when people start doing physical activity, they immediately feel good. There's a sense of achievement, but there's also the sugars in your blood move into your cells. They move into your cells, they move into your muscles, and they use the muscles. So you're actually using a bit of energy. You immediately start to feel lighter when you do that. Just being able to lift differently, move differently, stretch differently gives you a sense of relaxation. It's like, okay, I'm actually letting go of something. If you do things like yoga and Pilates, and you can get an instructor that almost soothes the body, not through the exercise, but through the kind of the voice, what they're saying. I remember in my toughest time, I went to a yoga session and she asked us to get into a position that was incredibly hard. And I was like, oh my God, this is literally impossible. And she said to me, she goes, it might feel impossible, but your life also feels like that sometimes. If you're able to just try and stay in that position for a couple of seconds, you'll prove to yourself that you can do the tough things. You can be in tough places, in tough positions, and you'll feel a sense of achievement. So for me, I feel like when my male clients go in, they are achieving something. Their bodies are achieving something. Their minds are achieving something. And that's incredibly powerful.
I know how I feel when, like today, I know I've got to go to the gym in the evening. I know I'm going to feel tired because after their podcasts, I always feel tired because it's mentally quite taxing. I'll still go because I know once I've done a few sets, that tiredness disappears. Right? I'll have a great session. I'll come back. I'll sleep really well because I'll naturally be physically and mentally tired now, ready to sleep. But it's also that sense of, oh man, I still got a session in even though a hard day's of work. And it's a sense of accomplishment. It makes me feel good, feel happy. And you're right, I try to prescribe that to all men to kind of do physical activity. But I also think it's the association of the people, right? Like when you go to a gym and you see other men who are in good shape, you think, okay, if they're doing this, they've obviously dedicated themselves to doing it. If I continue to do it, I can also look like that, have arms like that, or, you know, a chest like that. And it's this sense of I'm in the right place with the right type of people. And mentally, I think that makes you feel good. The opposite's also true. Like if you know you shouldn't be sat somewhere doing something you shouldn't be doing, and you see other people who you don't admire and respect, you're thinking, wow, look what I'm doing. This is just shocking. I shouldn't be doing this. I think that association mentally is the release of the chemicals which make you feel good, I guess, about yourself. And I think self-respect is a massive thing, right?
Yes. I don't know what gets men into the gym. It's really hard. Is it aesthetics? It's really difficult to know why men go into the gym. They seem to be there. They are predominantly, most gyms are male dominating. They also have a corner that belongs to them where, you know, the heaviest of weights is where you find all the men. For me, when I talk to my clients, the biggest thing is, why are you here? What do you really want? Are you here to reinvent yourself? Do you want to be a different person? And if you do, we're going to have to start doing different things. And that's going to feel uncomfortable. You'll have to have different friends. You'll have to have a membership to a gym or some sort of club. And I leave them with that thought, and I tell them to just go away and think about why they've actually come. Because the weight loss element of it, we're going to get that the minute we start working together, you're going to start losing weight if you're here for weight loss. If you're here for the bigger picture, then we need to draw that picture out for you, and it will be incredibly uncomfortable. Are you ready to do that journey? And a lot of people are, because they've been through so much in their life. They're at this point in their life, they're like, I just need something different.
Tell me about drawing that picture. What does that look like if someone was to do it for themselves at home now? Like, how would they go about doing it? Is it like writing all the truths of your life and saying, I am this, I am that, I wanted to be this, I wanted to be that? How does that How does that manifest?
So that would be a powerful way to do it. But I guess the way I do it is I write down their day-to-day today. So when they come in, I say to me, from 6 o'clock in the morning to midnight, I need to know what you're doing every hour. And I also want to know how you feel when you're doing that. What's really important is not what you do, it's kind of why you do it. So even with food, if someone walked into McDonald's, I don't care that you went into McDonald's. I want to know why you went there. What led you to going in there? Was it convenience? Was it childhood? Is it easy for you? Is that all you can afford right now? What are we doing? And it's changing people's what. It's the reason behind it needs to be changed. You're going out with your friends for that hour. How do you feel when you're with them? Are you excited to see them? Do you feel drained after you've seen them? How much alcohol have you consumed in that time? These sort of questions, if I can get the right answers, then I'll let them do it. If they can't explain that behavior to me, then that's where the change happens.
What's a healthy reason to do it and what's an unhealthy reason to do it? Well, what I mean by that is, like, I know I've had, the other day I was coming back from an event, went to dinner, and then I was with a friend, I walked past McDonald's, I'm like, do you want to get a little McFlurry? I wasn't doing it to soothe any pain. I was like, it's open, let's just grab a little McFlurry. I don't usually go to McDonald's. My what, I guess, in that place was probably a healthy what. I'm like, let's just get a little ice cream. We'll hang out for another 10 minutes. But I can also imagine there's a lot of people who do it for comfort because they're feeling pain. I see it manifest a lot on TikTok, actually, which I've noticed. You get these men who are clearly very overweight. But what they show is, oh, look what I'm eating today. And it's really bad meals. But the views are incredible. And the comments. And I can imagine that person now gets a sense of self-worth. Look at all these people watching me eating this food and it's bad for them. But I'm thinking they need love and attention to be seen so badly that they're going to put themselves out there for other people to probably ridicule. I can imagine the comments probably won't be positive. But they'll do it because there's an unhealthy reason behind that. So I guess that's the question. What's a healthy and what's an unhealthy reason to do these things?
There will be unhealthy reasons to do things. Like if you're just going into the gym from an aesthetic point of view, so you're like, I'm there because I just want to look great. I don't think it's an unhealthy reason. I think it's a good reason. But if you don't have the lifestyle to follow that reason, you're going to end up in a really bad place mentally. So if you tell me you're going to the gym, you're lifting, you'd go 5 days a week and your body doesn't change, which is the case for a lot of people in the gym, I would ask you, why is it not changing? Because you're doing all the hard work. An hour in the gym is a lot of work. But what about the other 23 hours? What's going on there? And then you realize actually they're not eating right because they don't know what right is, or they don't have the headspace to make that meal. They just want something quick and easy, or they're with the lads and, this is just the way we eat. It then becomes problematic because you're not meeting your own goals. You want this body, you want it, and you know that it will give you that self-worth, that value. It will make you feel like you've achieved something, but this will become a failure for you if there's no system in place. Because you're just doing the thing you know how to do. It's a package deal. There's a lot that you need to do. You need to sleep right. You need to move correctly. You need to eat right. You need to network and be socially surrounded by the right people. I realized early on in my fitness career that my friends aren't actually physically fit. And do I need that from my friends? Do I want them to be physically fit? I was like, I kind of did.
So did you tell your friends that they're not physically fit? Was that something you did? Or
good God, no, I don't need to lose any more friends. Come around, well, you're not fit. I guess when I mean they're not physically fit is they don't engage in physical activity. For whatever reason, that's not a part of their life. And I wanted it to be a part of mine. So in my head, I was like, how am I going to find friends that I can go to the gym with? Like, how am I actually going to find that?
But you weren't always a gym goer, were you?
No, I was not a physically active girl prior in my last life, I say.
Tell me about your last life.
My last life is where I was married. It's the life where my kids were born. And it's the life that was very comfortable and very settled. And
Sounds good.
Yeah, it was a beautiful life. It was. And it's one that I look back on and I smile at, for sure. But that was a life where I was in my 30s and I didn't put myself forward. I wasn't the most important person in my own life. Everyone else was, but I wasn't at that point.
How did that manifest? How do you describe what that felt like?
It felt comfortable. It's like you're starting life, you're a married woman, you've got your children, you've got your beautiful home, you're starting a career, you've got an incredible friend circle. There's a lot of comfort in that life and it's beautiful. You don't notice that you might be feeling unwell or that your mental health might be going down because it's busy. There's always a demand. So you just kind of go with it. And I think that's most women, most couples. You don't notice any flaws in your health when life is busy. It's only when life stops or calms down do you notice there's a lot going on here. There's a lot that I'm not coping with.
What were you not coping with?
I think the biggest thing is a self-satisfaction.
What were you looking for?
I think superficially I had everything. If you looked at it from the outside, it was the most beautiful setup and it looked perfect for us. I would say I was incredibly unhappy. I probably had been for quite a long time. And I didn't know what I was doing with myself. So it was my purpose just to raise my children, go to work, come home, cook, clean, on weekends, entertain or be around family and friends. There wasn't much purpose. It was like the highlight of my life was looking forward to a holiday maybe, or purchasing a new car or a handbag.
I'm smiling because the life you're describing is the life I see so many people try to build. They want that security. They want the holidays and the car. But I think when you have, and the reason why I can understand is when you have ingrained in you the sense of purpose and wanting to do more, that for you just, I don't want to use the word boring, but it seems like, is this it? Like clearly I want to do so much more. I don't just want to feel like the holiday is the thing, every summer, yep, we're going to go to the holiday or let's get a new car. You want your every day to feel amazing and exciting. I don't think anyone's wrong to feel that. I think everyone should live that life. Few will risk and challenge what they have to attain it.
It's a massive risk. It is a massive risk of happiness. It's like, how do you guarantee that if you leave that comfort, you leave everything that you know and what society's told you is correct? How do you know you're going to be happy? Because ultimately that's what you want to be. You want to be happy. And I had to find that happiness to recreate myself. And I would say it's the scariest thing I've ever done. I've made some big business moves and they've never scared me. But to leave my own comfort zone was the hardest thing I ever had to do.
I love the idea of, you said, recreating yourself.
Yeah.
What age were you and what did you have to do for this recreation?
I was in my mid-30s and I got married young. It was my choice. I wanted to. I always wanted to be young, getting married and having my kids young. But prior to getting married, I was always my dad's daughter. He did everything for me and that was incredible. He was my safety net. He literally did everything, even put petrol in the car for me. And then as soon as I got married in my early 20s, I was just the wife of my husband. And that's how I was known. I don't think I ever used my name. I either said I was his daughter or I was his wife. And they're both beautiful identities to have, to be someone's daughter and to be someone's wife. They're both safety nets that I adored. But I didn't know who I was as a person. I knew who I was in my career. That was really crystal clear to who I was. But I didn't know who I was and what I really wanted. I guess what I really wanted when I was younger is to just tick the boxes. The ones that my parents had set up for me and the ones that were expected of me. I didn't know anything else. I'm like, oh God, what do I actually like? What do I like doing? Who am I as a person? If someone was to describe me, what would they even say about me? I bet they'd just say she's an incredible dietitian. And that's not how I want to leave this world. She was really good at her job.
They're quite powerful questions to ask yourself. You have to be very self-aware to actually question your identity and who you are, especially when you have so much.
Yeah.
What do you think? influenced you or gave you the inspiration to want to recreate, to want to redefine who you are, and ask yourself these difficult questions? Where did that come from?
I think I wanted to be me. I was living a life of who everyone else wanted me to be. And I just looked at myself and I was like, imagine if your daughter was doing this. If she was in your shoes, what would you tell her? Would you let her live this life? Would you let her be unhappy? Even if that's personal unhappiness, because from the outside, I've always been smiling. What would you say to her?
That's deep, because even with my daughter now, she's 10, I encourage her to find a way. I even tell my parents, look, I'm not forcing any religion on her.
Yeah.
Like, let her find her way. Let her do what she wants. If she joins a club, she doesn't like it, I'm like, okay, it's fine. I give her the space to find something else that she might like. Allow her to become independent. We're all born differently. And you're right, within culture, especially Asian culture, we are so pushed, and women more than men, I find, to be a certain person, a certain woman, do this, do that. And then we almost live by our parents' happiness. You're married now, you got a good job, they can put their feet up, I've done right by my kids, they're set. And the kids are like actually thinking, well, I don't know if I signed up for this. Yeah. So it's very brave of you to then make the steps that you did, right? Because you ended up having a divorce.
Yes.
Talk to me about that. How did that feel?
That's where I lost my identity, because I was no longer someone's wife. So who was I? And how am I going to be a different person? And I found the easiest way to deal with it is to lock myself up for a couple of months, close the doors on the outside world. And it was easy to do that. We were in lockdown. So you're only going to see me for one quick walk, and that was about it. But I had to think about how I was going to navigate life. I didn't know how to pay bills. Never paid a bill in my life. And I know it sounds really silly, but I did things that I was good at, like raise the children, sort out the schooling, make sure everything was okay in the kitchen and in the home. And I guess my husband's job was to financially manage everything, even though both of us worked. It's just something I never had to do. I had to buy a property. I realised I had no credit rating because I was attached to someone, so I was the secondary card holder, didn't have any no claims bonus on my car, so I had to pay premium for car insurance. I mean, I felt like I was growing up within seconds.
Was there any sense of regret when you started realising these things, thinking, oh my God, I don't know all this stuff that happened?
No. There's no regret. There was just like, oh my God, I kind of see the value of this marriage now. What have I done? It was really tough. It was tough to learn things for the first time.
Tough in a good way though, right?
No, my God, no. I didn't have the money to make mistakes. Didn't have the money to pay extra in premiums. I didn't have the money to figure out that this car doesn't have any AA cover. It was a financial burden.
But I say tough in a good way because I bet if you look back at that and all those challenges and all the things that you did, it made you grow so much. You forged your identity for each one of those challenges and coming through it and think, okay, I ticked that box. I done that. That's where you find yourself, right?
It is. It's that learning. And, everyone's just like, how can it be that difficult for you? There's the internet. Just ask Google how to do it. But when your mental health is so bad, even asking Google doesn't help. You just need someone to do it for you at that point. I just needed someone to show me the way.
When I spoke to you the other day before this podcast, you said during that time apart, yours and your ex-partner's physical and mental health suffered.
Yeah, both of us.
Tell me about that.
I guess nobody goes into a marriage thinking they're going to divorce. We definitely, with our families, never thought we would end up where we ended up. And we didn't just have our divorce to deal with. Both of us had huge families, he's got a huge family, but I had parents, and we had a lot of personal stuff going on with our parents at the time. It was almost like we couldn't even divorce because we needed to be there for everyone else at that moment in time. And that is an incredible amount of pressure to have. You're also in lockdown. You have to live together at that point in time. And I know that he struggled massively. I struggled. Both of us were just, we know it's the right thing to do, but it's not the right time to do it.
So you were living together during the separation as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
We lived together even after we were pretty much divorced.
Okay.
We were still there. I was in the process of buying a home. He was helping me to buy that home. We made a conscious decision to live close to each other. When I say close, we're like 5 houses apart. To raise the kids together and to not impact them. And our biggest thing from both our dads was, we don't really care what you do. We just don't want the kids to be messed up in all of this. So the focus then became, how do we not impact our children?
Your fathers were unwell during this time too, correct?
Yes.
How did that manifest in the relationship and the separation between you guys?
It made us feel like, are we going to make this worse? We're actually going to kill them. Our dads were really good friends. And it impacted them so much because they were just like, how are you guys doing this? We are one big family. How are you going to split us all up? And I remember at the peak of our divorce, one dad was sick in hospital, almost dying, and the other dad was sectioned in a mental institute. Our dads were literally almost losing themselves as we were losing us.
How does that make you feel?
It was incredibly sad because I think both of us had a lot of love for our dads, and we still do. It felt like an incredibly sad journey at the time. And it almost made us stay together. It was just like, shall we just do it for the sake of our parents? You know, they need us. Shall we just stay? But all that would have happened is we would have stayed together and ended again. And then someone else would have been ill. So it was deal with your mental health, let it fall apart. We didn't have a lot of support, actually, from our friends and family. We're in lockdown. We've got one parent that's passing away, like he's actually dying. Everyone's attention was on that parent. So it's almost like you just need to keep yourselves together, look after your mental health the best you can, and separate. I think people found out we were divorced. Sadly, after his dad passed away, and after my dad came out of the psychiatric unit, after that, we actually let everyone know that we're done. We've actually bought a new home. We're living together, and we're going to move on with our lives.
It's I can't even imagine the pressure and the pain and the emotions you must have felt, because it would have been easy just to say, look, just stay together. It's like, you know, it will make people happy. Yeah. You know, let's not do this. You said you knew that you would end up just breaking apart again. So what's the point of us staying together?
Yeah.
How did you support each other as a couple that was coming apart, but you probably still had to lean on each other during this time?
We did, you know, just basics like, who's our car insurance with? It's a big thing. It's still a question when you've got so much, I'm not going to say hate, but there's so much pain between you. No one's walking out with a smile. Everyone's walking out with their lives totally shattered. Everything that we know is broken. It's like, how do you now sort all of that out? And we had to support each other. He had to help me to buy my home. You know, we had to make a decision. Who's staying in the family home? Who's moving out? How are we going to get all of the, you know, assets separated? And it's a conversation that had to be had. We had no lawyers involved. We had no solicitors. We had no legal aid, nothing. We divorced online. So we had to have these tough conversations. And ultimately, it was just like, what do the kids need?
People say that a lot, what do the kid need? But it's also about what you needed, what he needed.
Yeah.
What were some coping mechanisms that you guys used to kind of get through that time? Because I know, as we all know, divorce is so common now. It's a very painful time. I think the saddest thing is when, in some cases, the person who you loved most becomes almost like your enemy overnight.
Yeah.
Who the person who gave you everything now wants to take everything away. That's painful to sit
Yeah.
opposite someone and think. 'Cause I think there's a healthy way to divorce. Obviously, some marriages end on bad terms.
Yeah.
Understandably, in those situations, do everything via solicitors is probably the best. But I always think there's sometimes the kindness just goes. You think like, and I know you guys did, like you said, you parted ways amicably, but that doesn't happen a lot of the time. What advice would you give to anybody who's going through a similar situation to make it less painful?
It's really hard to even give advice, I think, because each circumstance is so personal, it's so different. No one knows what goes on in the four walls. Nobody knows anything about a marriage. It's so sacred. How do you know if someone's suffering, they're not suffering? You really don't know. The one thing I would say is when kids are not involved, I think it's a clear cut. When kids are involved, I think it's really important to think about how they are going to get impacted and how their life is going to change. It would be tragic if one parent ended up homeless, for example, and then they had to take on the kids. There would be a huge burden on them. So for both of us, a big thing was, what do the kids need? And another thing was financially, how are we going to cope if we have solicitors that are going to take 50, 60, 70,000 pounds off us to do this process? So there was a financial element, there was a practical element of where are we going to live and how are we going to keep everything stable for the children? And both of us had our parents. We could have easily just gone back home. That would have been the most sensible thing. But a big part of us was like, we don't want to do that from a cultural perspective, from a family perspective. We don't want to end up back at home. That's a huge failure culturally. It feels like a huge failure. It's deemed as a failure. So it was more like, okay, let's figure out how we're going to do this.
From a woman's point of view, how should a man show up at that time for the kids? Because I've always believed that a man should put the kids first, do as much as they can within the agreement with the partner. Take responsibility of the children as well. Don't just leave it up to the woman, because the woman's got, to live her life too. So many men just isn't always the case. Sometimes custody is difficult.
Yeah.
But I believe there are a lot of fathers who could be more present with their children. How should a man, in your opinion, manage that situation healthily?
I think if I use my own example, him showing up for the kids is also showing up for me. It's also asking me if I'm okay or how's things going. And it can be kid related. It can be just talking about their behavior. How have they been over the last few days? Do you see any changes? Because kids can be different in each household. You don't know what they're like, but it's important to know what your children are like in different households. Do they sleep well? Do they eat well? Do they talk about me? Do they miss me? Is there anything we can do to make that less painful? Sometimes it was as simple as, because we live so close, we could drop the kids to school and we kind of went together. We'd just walk around the block, debrief and go home. And it was literally a 5-minute walk, just around the block, come back and be like, okay, this is what the kids are up to. This is what they need. Do you need anything? Is there anything I can do? And it's practical things that you need the support with. And it really is practical. It's when it's end of term, we need to sort out uniforms. Kids have uniforms in 2 homes. Who's going to go buy it all? And getting uniforms for kids is a nightmare. They don't want to be there. You don't want to be there. The sizes aren't there. If someone's supporting you on that, it just lightens that load. So for me, it's a practical element, not necessarily an emotional thing.
How do you make sure emotion doesn't get involved during that time? Because I think when you're co-parenting, you have to be able to separate emotion from the practical things for your children, right? And a lot of the time, those lines can get blurred, where a simple thing, which is logistical, practical, can have so much emotion sprinkled over it and can be used in a very manipulative way by either partner. How did you make sure that it was, okay, this is for the kids, I'm not going to take a dig at you and try to, say something bad to annoy you?
So I think for both of us, it was our responsibility to sort out our mental health. And therapy was the best way for me. I needed to be okay with my behaviour, with my decisions, and with who I was as a person. I needed to fix that. And I had to learn that this man is going to be in my life for a very, very long time. Both of us wanted to be friends. We couldn't be lovers. We really should have been friends. And I said to him, and I think he agreed, if we can't be husband and wife, can we just be really good friends? And that doesn't mean we need to, have an emotional pour out of anything or go backwards. Maybe sometimes it's nice to go forwards and think about how we're going to move forward with this friendship and how we're going to live together. And I think that's so important. It's, can you have a baseline friendship? Because you don't want to act like strangers after a 15-year marriage or a 10-year marriage. You want to just say, okay, we've had something beautiful and something beautiful is created out of that. How do we nurture that?
Do you think that's always possible?
No. And it shouldn't be possible always. Some people come out of horrendous marriages. And that shouldn't be an option. But for us, I think the kids were young and we didn't have a horrendous marriage. So it was possible.
How do you think the way you approached your mental health during that time differed to the way your ex-partner approached his mental health?
I think I had to seek professional services.
Right.
Not because I'm more crazier, but I don't have an incredible amount of family to lean on.
Right.
My parents are pretty much only children, so I don't have any cousins that could have stepped in to help me. So for me, it was like a professional thing. Also, in the job that I do, I believe in it so much. It's my first line, I wouldn't. And for him, it was to go back home. He's loved and supported at home. That's where his love and comfort is. So he had to do what was right for him at the time. I kind of had to do what was right for me. But we did have to address it. When your life falls apart through grief, and grief can be anything, it can be separation, it can be divorce, it can be the loss of a partner, a parent, a friend, a sibling, a child. All of these things, essentially, doesn't matter what label it comes under, it's grief. Your whole life gets shattered. It's on you to reinvent yourself into the person you want to be. And you get that chance. It's really hard to do that in your everyday life where demands are put on you. You can't reinvent yourself that quickly. That's why people seek professional services, to nurture that, to have a kind of map of, I'm about to reinvent myself. I need some help in doing that. And you will lose an incredible amount of people when you do it.
I love that. I totally agree. You said to me on the Zoom call the other day, I don't even recognize the Reshma from before.
Yeah.
I feel the same about myself, right? Same going through grief. You're
Yeah.
forced to change. Tell me about yourself now. I'd love to know how you describe yourself now. Before you said, I was comfortable, I had this. Tell me about yourself now.
Today, I'm definitely the woman that my kids would be incredibly proud of. I'm the woman who's put herself first. And that's usually even before my children. When I go to the gym at like 6, 7 in the morning, the kids are at home. And they're just like, what, you're going to the gym and you're going to leave us by ourselves? I'm like, yeah, but I'm going to come home, be a better version of myself and be an incredible mother to you. But I require that 1 hour of the day. If you give me an hour, I give back the 23. I can do that. I just need 1 hour. I don't think that's a big ask. But that hour has to be sacred. That has to be given to me. I demand it of anyone and everyone in my life.
I love that. That's when you do all your pull-ups.
That's when I shatter myself in the gym. But I am of that mindset that I do the hardest thing already, and that's in the gym. Everything else in my life will be easier.
Why is that important for you?
I want to prove to myself that I can do the difficult things and I can be a good example. I want my kids to look back and say, okay, you did it on your own. And Dad did it on his own, but you guys had an incredible journey. And we know that if something goes wrong in our lives, we'll be fine because we've evidenced that as parents, that you will be absolutely fine because we were.
So it's validating your self-worth to yourself? I ask this because it's the same for me.
Am I validating my self-worth? You know what got me into the gym in the first place? Was a bloody man. And I can't even believe it. I didn't even go on my own accord. It was my partner that got me there.
Present partner?
Yes.
What did he have to say to you?
He'd been kind of sowing the seed for a couple of years. You should come to the gym. It'd be good for you. I think you'll really enjoy it. Be something different. You love a new challenge. Do it. And I didn't want to because I already felt like my self-worth was low. I didn't feel like I was good enough for him. It's the first time I've ever felt like that in my life.
How do you mean? Good enough in what way? Mentally, physically, emotionally,
Definitely
spiritually?
mentally I was not good enough. He had a sleep routine and I didn't. So he'd just be like, you do what you need to do, I'm going to bed. And I was like, oh, why can't I sleep the way he does? He sleeps so well, like a baby. I can't do that. I'm up for hours just watching him sleep. And that's because there's so much going through my head. And he was had his life together whilst mine was falling apart. So I just felt like, what am I bringing? I've never felt like this. I've always been the girl who sat there and I'm like, what are you bringing to the table? I bought the table. He's the first man that made me question, actually, what are you bringing to the table? Because I've got myself together. I've sorted my mental health out. I've got my physical health intact. I'm, doing what I need to do. I don't see you doing very much. You have sleep issues, you're not addressing them. You don't do anything physical, so there's no way you're happy within yourself because you don't have that. So he made me, in the kindest way, question my self-worth. So a lot of this was, he wasn't telling me to be a different person. He was just giving me those little cues of maybe you could do this. And I've got all the knowledge of the gym, done a PT qualification. I just didn't want to go in there, so I didn't feel safe. I was like, I don't want to, I already feel like I failed so much. I don't need to go in there and be like, well, I don't know how to lift that and I don't know how to use that machine and I don't want to talk to somebody about it. I don't want to feel any worse than I do internally. But he became my safe space. It was a bit like, he sold it to me. He goes, why don't I go to the gym and you go to the sauna? I was like, okay. So he's kind of got my foot in there. Then he was like, well, why don't you just wait around with me? And he nurtured me into it. And I felt safe in the gym. And I went from feeling, I don't know what I'm doing, to actually chilling with the gym bros.
I'm picturing this guy, so I've never met your partner. What I'm seeing is a feeling is very calm. Very calm, man. Very collective.
Yeah.
Disciplined. Dedicated.
Yeah.
And those qualities are extremely attractive for a woman, right?
Yes.
You meet a man like that, because when I see men who say they can't find the right woman or are struggling to date,
Yeah.
I find that they have this sense of desperation and seeking validation and feeling that they have to just keep trying and trying to impress. And I've always said, when you are a man who is composed, confident, has your stuff together, the right woman would be attracted to you. You invite them into your life because they see you, they see what you're doing. They're like, this man is something else. But the minute the man does the opposite and hasn't got his stuff together, he is then hunting on the prowl. Accept me, don't you think I'm good looking? Or whatever it might be, rejection, because they haven't spent the time on themselves.
Yeah.
And it seems like your partner spent so much time on himself.
Too much time.
Maybe too much time, but then when the time was right, he met you and look what's happened, a really fruitful relationship.
So I felt like I wasn't good enough the whole time. And I had to level up. I had to level up in my mental health. I had to level up in my physical health. And I've never had to level up.
It's a good challenge though, right?
Yeah, it is a good challenge, but it requires the right voice to nurture you to level up. I don't want to do it because I feel like I need to prove it to him that I'm good enough. I feel like I want to do it because we're both on that journey of being different people. And he will say to me today, I'm different to the woman he met and fell for. He goes, you're totally different today. He goes, there's heaven and earth difference between you. So in the 4 years I've been with my partner, if there's a big difference, I'm definitely a different person prior to that as well. But what's really difficult is if people don't know you're on that journey and they don't see you changing, or they don't want to see you change and grow, they talk to you like you're the old person. They ask you to do things like you're the old person. And I think with me and my ex-husband, we have a lot of that. I talk to him like he's my ex-husband. I don't see his growth and he certainly won't be seeing mine. And when we talk to each other, it's almost like you've gone back in time. And if I say I'm doing something, he'll be like, that's not like you. You wouldn't do that. Why are you doing that? Or if he does something different, I'll be like, really? Where did you learn that? And it's almost meeting each other for the first time. And that makes it easier because all of a sudden you're two different people. And if you can both appreciate that you're different people, you'll have that respect for the new person stood in front of you and you won't treat them like that old person that you know so well.
You find that with friends as well?
I do. I think I'm at a point in my life where whoever was meant to leave has left. They've either left on their own accord or I've had to throw them out. One of the others happened. They're gone. And I love that they were a part of a journey that was so incredibly beautiful. But I guess our values don't align today, and that's okay. And it's incredibly hard because my kids have known these people. So I now need to explain to my children where these people have gone. But it's easier to do that because I want my kids to know that friendships and relationships may not be forever. You'll change. Who your friend is in primary school is not your friend in secondary school. And that happens with us adults as well. Yeah. So to be able to nurture that journey and talk to them about it is incredibly important. Things will change in your life. People will come, people will go. You don't have to hate them. You can love that phase of your life and then you can let go of it.
Nothing lasts forever. Now, I don't think it should really. I think especially if you're on a journey of growth, which isn't for everyone. Some people want that life and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I think when you want the challenges, I think you always kind of know. The reason I asked you the question about where did you get the inspiration or the idea of rebuilding your life and becoming this new version of yourself, finding your identities, because probably it was always there. The seed was always there. Maybe it hadn't started to bloom, but you knew it.
Yeah.
You knew it. I felt the same. Right. So there's so many similarities, which is why I ask you these questions. Do you find that your experiences have made you a better dietitian now because the way you empathize, relate to your clients, experiences you can lean on, how does that translate into your work?
I think I've become a bit more nurturing in my coaching. I cry with my clients. I celebrate with my clients. And that's because I think I embody their journey so well. I've taken an incredible amount of clients through divorces, and that's not my job. But I know that I've got the skill set to help them. And that's partly the reason why I did the whole personal performance coaching, because I wanted to be a good coach. And I didn't want to blur the lines between my career and my friendship with my client. I wanted it to stay professional. So now when they talk to me about things that are personal, I'm able to say to them, I'm giving you my professional opinion. I'm not giving you my personal opinion.
Tell me about that personal performance coaching. What does that look like?
I think it's a coaching qualification that I took on to ask the right questions and to allow someone to get from where they are to where they want to be in a seamless path, which I've never been able to do for myself.
So what kind of questions would you ask me if I came to you?
It depends, I guess, what you wanted, okay? And the biggest thing is why. Why do you want it? What will it bring to you? Who's going to be impacted if you do it? Who will be impacted if you don't do it? So for someone like you, you've got your daughter, you've got like a primary. you might do it for her and you might become the secondary. So the biggest impact is on her, but you get impacted as well. So it's a reverse kind of impact in that you're doing it for somebody else.
Is that the right way though?
It can be. It's because sometimes that want and the external give is bigger than what you feel in your internal being. If your self-worth is lower, then you might need something else to do it for you. So for me, I didn't want to be physically active, but the fact that my partner wanted to see that in me made me do it. I was like, okay, you're creating a safe space. You want this in me. You want it for me because it doesn't impact you. You want it for me. I'm going to do it. And now I don't do it for him. I do it for myself. So I became the primary, but I needed someone else there to pull me.
So is that the best way you think to speak to someone who's going through a challenge? If you meet a man who wants to improve, is to ask them, why are you doing it? What are you doing it for? Yeah.
Who's it going to impact? What's the outcome of this? Will you feel satisfied in doing it this way? It's really working on their whys. Why are you here?
I think there's a lot of guilt that can come from asking that question as well, because if you ask a man, who's going to get impacted if you carry on with this behavior or carry on acting this way, and they say, well, my kids, my partner. I can imagine that's a very difficult question to answer. How does the feelings from it are difficult to handle. How would a man then come at peace and not feel almost worse about himself? Just thinking, oh my God, all these people are now living really bad life because of my actions. What's the next steps for that person?
It's understanding what this life brought to you. Why did you do it? Because it brought you some sort of comfort, some sort of peace when you were doing it. And that's incredibly important because you are important. So you did something, yes, it might have been harmful to others, might have been harmful to yourself, but if it brought you that moment of peace and love and comfort in that time, then that is what you needed. And you have to allow yourself to say, I needed that at that moment in time. But today, I don't need that. And I'm choosing not to have that in my life. You can transition out that state into another one by giving yourself love and grace. That at that point, that's what you needed.
Really interesting. So you're owning that time.
Yeah.
You're not looking back at it with regret. You're saying, I actually needed that. It might have been...
Yeah.
It might have...
Wrong, damaging to others.
There was a lesson from it.
100%.
It served me in some way.
Yeah. And if that can help other people, if that can be a story, then that is incredibly powerful. To say, do you know what? I messed up. I messed up for years. And it took me this, and this to get out of that mess.
Do you find it's easy for men to take ownership of that? To actually tell you what their truth is? No. I think it's incredibly hard for a man. One, because I'm a female. So it's different. You have to let your guard down. You have to become vulnerable. And that is incredibly hard for any man to do because you don't want to be seen as that person. But I also show them that we all have that and you are very similar to all the other men that have come in the room. So you're not an exception to this rule. You're actually the majority. And we know how to deal with that safely and sensitively. And everything is confidential. So, you'll never have to come back here. It's almost like they come to you with a problem. You give them the comfort and the understanding. You create a safe space for them. Yeah. They get a better understanding of who they are, why they're doing it, what they're doing it for, who's getting impacted. Yeah. And then when you say, look, you change your lifestyle, you can do this, stop drinking alcohol, eat better food. Yeah. That's almost like the easy part. Okay, just tell me what I need to eat. I'll just follow what you need to do. I'll put the beer or the wine on the left side and the water's there. Yeah. But the real challenge was here. Maybe not so much here, right?
This impacted all of that. So it's a thing I'll change immediately. You came to me for that. Here's your food plan. Now we've nurtured that. How do we work on the rest of you?
Do you find that they actually then end up leaning on you as almost like a therapist for safety and comfort, or not so much?
I feel like they're with me forever.
Yeah.
I didn't sign up to this. A good business model. Didn't sign up to this one. I always thought a good dietitian, And a coach is one that does her job. That person goes back and they never have to come back to you again. I've now realized in business, I'm their insurance policy. They'll always come back because they want that belief system. They want that love. They want that compassion. They want me to validate what they're doing. And 9 out of 10 times, I'm never going to do that. I'm going to give them something else to work on. So they're always evolving. They're always becoming a better version of themselves. And they're learning something new. I'm learning on the journey. And I don't recognize people when they work with me. The person that walked into my room and the person that left is always different.
Do you think you can do what you're doing now if you were in your previous life?
No.
Because you had to become stronger yourself?
I had to become stronger. I had to make my career a huge part of my life. When your life falls apart, you've got to figure out how you're going to make everything work. There's no backup. One of the biggest reasons I became physically fit and mentally fit is because they couldn't be the problems that I had on my plate. I already had enough problems on my plate. I didn't then have to I didn't have the capacity to deal with health, physical or mental. So my priority was, number one, how I'm going to pay the bills. And number two, how I'm going to become fit. If I can do that, I can handle everything else because I'm physically able to. I'm mentally able to do that. It's huge. Also, when you're on your own, no one's going to, if you've got a day off, you're having a sick day, running your own business, no one's giving you pay on that day. But also no one's looking after your kids on that day. That's on you to do. And whilst I'm incredibly fortunate that if I'm unwell, my ex-husband will step right in and take over and help me. But not everyone has that. So if you are on your own, it's on you to fix your health.
A question for, I guess, some women. We have a good amount of women that listen to the podcast is, how do you make the transition from being comfortable within the gym class environment to then saying, I'm actually going to go and
chill with the gym bros.
Go over there the squat rack?
So when I started my gym journey, the thing that my partner said to me is you only need to show up. That's it. The whole thing is about showing up. And for 1 or 2 months, you're just going to show up. So I signed up to classes and I just went to the class and I showed up, and the class is all female. You hardly ever see a man in there, maybe one. I mean, it's legs, bums and tums. I don't think any man's interested in that. So it was easy for me to be in a comfortable environment with females. Then he started coming into the gym with me and he's like, oh, we'll come and do a class with you. And I was like, really? He's like, if you want me to. And I was like, oh no, maybe I'll come with you instead and do the gym stuff. So he would then be there and work with me and give me a lot of positive reinforcement. You can do it. This is great. Look how much you've achieved. You're lifting. I can see the gains. And then I ended up knowing the personal trainers in the gym. So they were always there to look out for me. And once I started getting more and more confident, I would ask a guy to maybe spot me every now and then if my partner wasn't there. And they were really good at it. And it was almost like a silent conversation, but no conversation. Because once you've met that one person, they've got their eye on you. They'll look out for you. They know if you're doing something incorrectly, they'll comfortably come up and tell you wrong positioning. And that's how I gained confidence. And what I gained more than confidence is a gym family. I ended up recognizing people, knowing people, and getting to know their stories. And that was incredible. They don't know me. They don't know my past. They don't know what I do for a living. They know nothing about me, but they're there and they're friends.
It's amazing. Well, look, as we come to the end of this conversation, which has been amazing, I've really enjoyed getting to know you more and hearing about your journey. And there's so much I've learned. This new Reshma that I see in front of me, who's inspiring, brave, strong, how do you want to be remembered?
So tough. Because what really comes to my mind is my children. I really want them to see a brave mummy and a happy mummy. I think that's so incredibly important. If I could give one thing to my children, it's happiness. And I want them to do whatever it takes in this world to be happy. So that's my story. That's me. I am the happiest I've ever been in my entire life.
No happy tears.
Yes, definitely happy tears, because it's taken an incredible amount of change to get there. But they're definitely happy tears. And if I could give one thing back to my children, is be happy.
You've done that in abundance. And I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
And your friends are and your family are. And I know you've built an incredible life for yourself and for everyone that you love. So, and I know you're an inspiration. And I'm so proud and feel honored to share your story. More women need to come on, even onto a podcast like this, which is a men's mental health podcast, and share their truth, because we as men learn from you and from your side of the story, and we become better men knowing how our partners get impacted in their emotions and their feelings. Yeah. Which is why we're so keen to have you on. So,
well, it's been such an honor.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much.